Hey, what is up? We are back with the TL-7 Tier 9 Premium Tank Destroyer. I've played with it for like a week now, and I've come to a conclusion that I like the tank. And I kind of gave the impression that I didn't really like the tank the first time when I tried it out and gave you a reaction video. But after a week playing it, I figured out that this is one of the tanks that I do like, and it is not difficult to like this tank, because it is an auto loader, and all my favorite tanks are auto loaders, and this auto loader is no exception. 1440 damage in under 7 seconds. This is a big hitter. And that is the redeeming quality of this tank. That is the gun. It might not be like a super accurate gun or have very good moving dispersions. Moving dispersions are atrocious. Accuracy can be trollish sometimes. But 1440 damage in 7 seconds, very difficult to argue with that. Now, like I said, I like this tank. I didn't say I love this tank, because if I'm going to be honest, there are a lot of tanks that I will put ahead of these tanks, ahead of the TL-7. If I say I'm going to rank this tank, I'm going to say I like the Cobra more. I'm going to say I like Standard B more. I'm going to say I like the Kampfpanzer 50 ton a little bit more, but those are not auto loaders. And this tank has a little bit of that challenging difficulty that makes it interesting for more advanced players or more experienced players. They're going to enjoy this challenge a little bit more because this tank turns like a boat. This tank does not have the power to weight ratio. It only has 480 horsepower, so it doesn't have the kind of mobility that makes it a protagonist tank. It doesn't make it an overpowerful kind of tank. It's kind of difficult to or not difficult, but I would say challenging to play with this tank, because it has that mobility issues, because it has that accuracy issues, but because it has that 4-clip 2.3 second intra clip, 1440 damage, 7 seconds unload. That is what makes it kind of like make you giddy a bit when you can pull off those burst damage that you often get with auto loaders with fast intra clips like this one. So this is what makes the tank kind of like interesting to play. I'm not going to say I love this tank, because like I told you, I love a lot of other tanks. If I'm going to compare this with other auto loaders, I'm going to say my favorite is always the 1357. I also love the Cobra, Progetto, so many other more interesting auto loading tanks. Batchat, the tier 9 Batchat AP is actually a very low-key solid tank, very good tank. I think that tank is even more competitive than the tier 10 Batchat. There's a lot of tanks available to play nowadays, isn't it? And to put the TL-7 up there among the most competitive tanks, I just don't think it's possible. Oh no, I'm gonna be killed here by the Waffenträger. I am, pinging for help, asking for focus fire, and my team came through. It is times like this when I am glad I bound my T key to my mouse scroll wheel button. I can quickly request for help. I can quickly get my teammates' attention. It is one of the important things that I think a lot of players don't use, and I think you should use that T key often, especially if you want to call for focus fire, or you want to get your teammates' attention or ask them to follow you. Binding your T key into a quickly usable position is very important. So that's what I did. Bind the T key to my mouse scroll wheel button. So therefore, when I click on the enemy, I am requesting for my team to focus fire on the bad guy. or if I'm clicking on my teammate, I'm asking them for support or asking them to follow me. And just like that, over 3.3k damage. I'm reloading. There should be a CC Mark 7 close by. Looks like he's moved to a far away position, so that is even better for me. I'm just going to look for side shots here, and I also have the penetration on my reticle. When it turns green, then I'm ready to fire. It means I can penetrate the armor when it's green, and that is very useful tip as well. If you're a new player, use the reticle that has armor penetration values. This gives you an indication of whether you can penetrate those shots on heavily armored tanks or not. But anyway, 4,200 damage and over 2k spotting damage on a tank that has absolutely no view range and all. That's not bad at all. I'm pretty pleased with that. This tank only has 370 meters view range. This tank cannot be played without turbo because of that very low power to weight ratio, very low horsepower, and then the bloom and accuracy is absolutely atrocious on this tank as well. 0.28 moving dispersion, and the dispersion 0.38 makes it really terrible. That's why I'm running the improved aim, and the improved rotation mechanics helps with accuracy a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. With my accuracy and moving dispersions kind of manageable with the IRM, improved aim, and then my mobility, with the turbo, it helps a little bit to make this tank kind of bearable. Now, if you remember in the early years of World of Tanks, having trained crews with 5 skills and running premium equipment meant making your tank perform slightly better than stock. This is a huge advantage, especially in 2015, 2016, but you fast forward to 2020, large amount of World of Tanks players already have built up crews in all of their tanks, and having that 9 skill crew in your tanks was no longer a big deal. In order to have that little bit of advantage, you needed to invest more time and resources into the new mechanics into the game, that is equipment 2.0. Now you see me running away and leaving that position in the middle of the map. That's because the action is not there. It is not on the east side. The action is not on the west side. The action is on the east side. I am taking the position where the bushes are, where the Conqueror GC is, and there is a little bit of a hull down if I back up a bit, and if I move forward a bit, I can use that bushes to double bush and snipe the enemy out, and that is where I am going. But like I was saying, 2022 feels more like you're putting more and more resources, time and energy into making your tanks less shit. And this is how I feel about this tank. I don't feel like I'm getting a good stock tank. I'm getting a shit stock tank that I need to put a lot of skills and a lot of good equipment and field modifications just to make this tank less shitty. And that's what I feel about the new meta nowadays in 2022. It's not like you're trying to make your tank better with equipment 2.0 or with a 9 skill crew. It's more like you're making your tank less shit, making your tank a little bit more playable and bearable so that it can compete in 2022. And that's what I feel about this tank. I don't feel like I am adding equipment and training crew and making it a lot better than it was stock. I'm just making it more playable, more bearable, more tolerable to play with, and that's how I feel about the TL-7. Now that's not to say this tank is a shit tank or a terrible tank. I do have a little bit fun in it. I do enjoy playing it, but again, it's not a tank that I super love, but it is a tank that is competitive once you have all the equipment and all the if you have purple equipment, you put purple equipment. I didn't put purple equipment in this tank. I don't have field modifications. That's because I want to make this experience more like a fair kind of review that more people can relate with, because if I put in purple equipment and if I put in field modifications, it kind of skewers the result a little bit. It kind of makes this tank more powerful than it actually is for most people that get this tank. You know, most casual players, most normal players just buy this tank and have normal equipment and have 4 skill crew in this tank. They don't have 9 skill, 15 skill crews, so it's just normal people. I'm trying to convey that kind of experience in this tank. And again, this tank, pretty fun tank, kind of slow reload. I think I've got this reload down to about 38 seconds with you know, with food and BIA, but I am making good use of unloading my clip here, and you see me running away from this position a couple of times. This is my second time leaving this position. The first time I left this position was when the standard B came up to spot and he was dead, and then I reoccupied that position again, and now that the M46 pattern is there, I am running away again because that position isn't very good. As you can see, the 50-120 died there because he just stayed there. He didn't even go to the lower ground. He kept backing up into the higher ground and eventually got killed by that pattern. If you're taking that position in the bush where I was, and you see the enemy tanks advancing from the 9 line on the side, on the other side of the tracks, it means they're going to pop up and they're probably going to spot you, especially if you, as soon as you fire your gun, your camouflage values are going to be heavily reduced. You're going to lose all your camo values, and as soon as you fire your gun, they're going to spot you out, and then those guys on the 0 line sniping from the back, they're just going to cream you. So before you get creamed and lose all your HP and die there, make sure you leave this position as soon as you see those guys on the other side of the tracks advancing up north on the 9 line. Well, I saw that as the standard B, I ran away. I saw the M46 or whatever, and I ran away. And once they died, I come back and reoccupy this spot. I didn't think I was going to spot out this TL-7, but I did, and he stayed at the same spot, and I managed to snipe his cupola when he was hiding behind the wreck, and he made a mistake of backing up because he was backing upwards and exposing more of his tank for me, and it made my second shot even more easier, and I just finished him off that way. Now I know where the Char Future and the 704 is. I'm just going to go forward and prepare myself to snipe them as soon as the M451 or Cobra spots the spots the Char Future 4 and the 704 again. I could have stopped here and tried to shoot in between the train coaches, but I don't think the crack is big enough, so I might as well just drive straight to the end of the coach and try to get him. I managed to get 5 kills. I need one more kill to make it 6. I've got one more shell. If I try to reload a full clip, I don't think there is enough time. I hope that the one shell is enough for me to get my 6th kill and finish off that object 261. In this game, I was very influential. I basically held that 10 line, 9 line, 0 line, and killed off a lot of tanks. I killed off 5 tanks. This pixel shot here, again, this tank 0.38 dispersion unfortunately did not make that shot. Even running food, even running BIA crew skill did not make that shot. But you win some, you lose some, you can't get them all. But still a fairly good game for me. 3,416 damage, you know, pretty good game. I'm happy with it. and I changed my mind about the TL-7. I didn't think it was that great of a tank. I'm coming off this session thinking, you know what, this tank is actually pretty quite fun. It put a smile on my face for most of the session. So anyway, that's my take on the TL-7. Hopefully it's coming to your server on the NA and EU as well pretty soon, and hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.